Hello friends and welcome to a new video. I'm Lisa, so glad you're here. Today we're going to be making a DIY mahl stick. Now a mahl stick is a tool used by artists to rest on the top of their easel or rather on their canvas, to rest their hand, to make it a little bit more steady maybe when they're doing details, or to keep your hand off of your canvas while it's wet so you're not getting paint all over the palm of your hand. Mahl sticks can really range in price. Some of the cheaper ones that I found were $30 to $40. Some of the more expensive ones were $180, which is shocking. I did not know that they went for that much money, but today we're going to try to make ours for under $10. So if that's something that interests you, come along, let's go get some supplies. One of the items that you will need is a dowel, a wooden dowel, a round one, square ones. I have seen some mahl sticks that are square, but from what I've read, they are a little less comfortable because you want to make sure that you're not having your palm or your hand resting on a sharp edge. So mine is round as well as a ball. I opted to use a foam ball because I wanted mine to be as light as possible. While I'm working, I don't need anything heavier than it needs to be, especially when you're painting for hours. You don't want to be lifting a heavy mahl stick. Some cloth to go on top of it, as well as some hot glue and a drill, either a drill or scissors. I'm going to see which one works, if you can do it with both or either, or what works best. I went to Home Depot and I found the dowels under the molding aisle along the bottom of the rack. There was lots of different sizes, lots of different thicknesses. I decided to go for one that was actually 5/8 because I felt like it was a little bit more substantial. When I took out some of the smaller ones, the thinner ones, and I leaned them up against the wall, they bowed and didn't feel as sturdy. So I wanted something that felt substantial, sturdy, was going to stay in place, but wasn't too thick or wasn't too heavy. Now I chose mine based on how it felt in my hand, and that can be how you choose yours too, what's going to be most comfortable to you to hold while you paint. So play around with it, see which one works for you. I honestly think the thickness is a personal preference. So we headed to the dollar store to find some foam balls for the top of the mahl stick. Now I had these lying around my house the first time I made it because I used them to learn how to proportionally draw. They were originally from the dollar store. You could buy them in a pack of 2. They came in different colors, so it worked for practicing to paint and all the rest of this. Anyways, I found these for 2 for $1.50. All my prices, just an FYI, are going to be in Canadian because I do live in Canada, so keep that in mind when we're talking prices. I picked up some of these as well as some glue sticks because I had run out of glue sticks and I knew that I was going to need that to glue the ball onto the dowel. Cloth, you can pick anything cheap or use cloth that you have at home if you have any scrap fabric lying around. Thrift stores are often really good places for this because they often will have a section where they just have rolled up pieces of fabric. I use my mahl stick at the top of my easel for leverage, so I don't ever usually place the top of my mahl stick on my canvas while I'm working. So if that is something that you do, then you want to be a little bit more careful about the type of fabric that you use on the top. For me, I don't do that, so I've just used any old fabric that I had lying around. If you find that that's a way that you work, or you're working on really big canvas where like it's too far to extend to the end of the canvas to hook it around, then you're going to want to use something that's not going to be slippery and something that won't scratch your canvas or leave marks. From what I have read online, the recommendation seems to be chamois leather is the ideal cloth to use on the top of your mahl stick. So if that is something that you do, then take note of that, and that will be a cloth that you want to look out for, but it will add a little bit to your price. So just keep that in mind. The dowel that I came home with was the 5/8. Again, like I said, it all kind of depends on how it feels for you as to what you want to choose. I didn't realize at the store, but after I came home, I realized that the original mahl stick that I had made is quite a bit shorter than this one. I did think about cutting the dowel down to a shorter size, but then I thought, well, why not have a longer mahl stick and a shorter mahl stick and just see what I'm going to use them for. I suppose it all really depends on how tall your easel is, because I rest mine on the top of my easel. So if I was working on a really big piece and I wanted to rest it on the top, I would perhaps need my dowel to be a little bit longer. So it's really up to you whether you stand or sit while you work, whether you're working on large canvas or you're working on smaller canvas. So really it's personal preference. If this dowels that you get from the hardware store are too long, you can easily just cut them down or even ask them to cut them down at the store if you don't have the supplies to do that at home. You could do that with a handsaw, or you could do it with a power saw. Just make sure that you're always using safety. Be safe, friends. We are going to get our supplies together and let's figure out how to do this. So what is the plan here? Let's see if we can just cut hole now. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but I'm just going to cut and twist. I want it to get fairly close to the center. I feel like that's actually working pretty well. Maybe we don't need a drill. That actually worked a lot better than I thought it was going to. Now let's see, let's get our dowel and see if we can, there we go. That actually worked pretty well. So there you go, that is the solution. If you do not have a drill, go ahead and grab some scissors. So I was too lazy to go find my C-clamps and instead had this little social media type thingamabob and my ball fit right in there. So I'm just using that so that I don't have to hold it with my hands for it to be safe. But for this one, I'm just gonna drill into it. Woo! Clearly that didn't work with a drill. Don't use a drill, use scissors. It works a lot easier and faster and it's just better. So, lesson learned. So from here, we have our ball with the hole in it. Now we are going to put some hot glue. I know it's not absolutely necessary, especially because this hole is not as big as the dowel, so it's not like it's loose. It's pretty snug on there, but just for 100% goodness, just to make sure that it's not going anywhere, I'm going to use a little bit of hot glue gun, get the dowel in, and make sure that it's nice and snug. We've got our glue gun all nice and hot. Always be careful when using a glue gun. They can be dangerous. I'm just going to pump a whole bunch in there. It doesn't really matter if it oozes out because we're sticking cloth over the top of it. Let's just hold it on there for a minute. Make sure it's on there nice and secure. I probably should have gotten rid of this label. Oops. That's fine. We'll cover it up with cloth anyways. It doesn't really matter. Alright, give it a little tug. Make sure it's on there nice and secure. And this essentially is your mahl stick. Now we are going to cut some cloth. So like I said before, the cloth that you use doesn't necessarily matter if you are resting your mahl stick on the top of your easel. If you are resting it on your canvas or anywhere where there is painting, you're going to want to make sure you're using a fabric that does not slip but is also very soft and does not scratch. Now this is quite a scratchy material that I'm using. It is some leftover material from my grandmother. So it not only reminds me of her and is going to make me smile every time that I paint, but it also is pretty and I like the way it looks. So, but again, I don't rest my mahl stick on my canvas while I work. I rest it on the plywood on the top, and so I don't feel the need to use specific fabric. So I think last time, if I remember correctly, the old brain don't work the way it used to. I think if I remember correctly, I did cut a circle, and that created these really nice ruffles underneath. So that's something that I can use to rest on top of my easel, and as well, it sits on top of my easel like that when I'm not working. And so this provides just extra support to do that. So I think if I remember correctly, I cut it in a circle. So that's what we're going to do today. And we're going to cut an extra little strip for the tie to tie it to keep it secure. Okay, so I'm going to see if a plate is the right size that I need for my circle. Hopefully this should give me enough room for fabric. If it's too big, I don't know, we'll see. I've got a lot of fabric. I can always cut more if I need to. So this is what we're going to try. Did I do 2 layers? Did I not? I'm a little too scared to take this apart because I tied the knot so dang tight, but I think it's, no it is. Did I double it up? Maybe I did, because look, there's, I mean, that is smart because then the underside looks so nice like that, right? So maybe I did do 2. So let's do 2 layers. Okay. Rewind. Yeah. I mean, this isn't very thick fabric, so I think it'll be good. And then, like I said, the underside will be the pretty color of the fabric rather than the underside. So double up your fabric. Let's do that. Yeah, a full thickness. Let's put this all on the table so it doesn't fall off. You should probably put good sides together so that you're not marking marker on top of your good fabric, but I'm a rebel. I'm a rebel who's got no patience, so don't do as I do. Put your good sides together so they're together, so you draw on the other side of your fabric, the underside. Okay, let's just cut most of this off anyway, so I'll cut inside the circle. Don't let your kids use your fabric scissors. They're crap. My mom used to always get so mad at us as kids when we used to take her fabric scissors, and now I see why. Should have cut some tinfoil before I started this. All right, we got there, we got there. Okay, so let's see. Okay, yeah, I think that's good. So use a dinner plate. An average size dinner plate is going to be a good size to cut your fabric. So that's a good template. That's nice to know. So now I just need to cut a strip of fabric that I can use as the tie to attach it on, and then we're done. Hopefully that's going to sharpen up my scissors a little bit. Oh, they're atrocious. So I still have my, no I don't have my fabric doubled. Oh my gosh. It's slightly better. Just the end of it is slightly better. So, I mean, I think I wrapped my other one around a couple of times, so I don't know what this is. 2 hand lengths, 3 hand lengths, I don't know. It's not a precise science here, people. Okay, so let's put it all together. We've got our 2 layers of fabric, a round fabric that we use the dinner plate as a template. You can, if you want to, if your hot glue gun is still hot, you can put a dab of glue or something like that, just to keep your fabric in place. It makes it slightly easier to do that. And now we are going to just kind of fold it over itself a little bit and grab your tie. My tie is about 1/2 inch thick. It doesn't need to be super thick. I'm going to hold the end of it with my fingers and just wrap it around a few times. Doesn't need to be super long. I got mine around 2 or 3 times. And then we're just going to tie a tight, secure knot to the end of it. And we are going to fluff out. We can kind of pull our fabric as we need to and just kind of fluff it out. Make sure it's not all bunched to one side. Kind of make sure that we have ruffles all the way around so that we've got a nice surface to hook it onto. And that is a DIY mahl stick, my friends. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big old thumbs up. If you want to make your own mahl stick, I will leave all the materials that I used and a little bit of a description in the description box below, so you can go ahead and make your own. It is a very useful tool, which I highly recommend, so now you can make your own for under $10. Have a good one, friends. Take care. Thank you so much for watching. Bye now.